We are at Mistaston Lake up in northern Labrador in Canada. This is a fantastic site of an impact event 36 million years ago onto target rocks made of anorthosite. This is important because anorthosite is the main type of rock you would see at the lunar surface, meaning Mistaston Lake is a great example of what could happen to the rocks of the lunar surface. This is a piece of anorthosite that we picked up at Cote Creek yesterday. I'm going to analyse it by this scientific instrument here, but it looks quite funky, and it will fire a laser, which is the sound you just heard there, at the sample surface, which will then tell me the geochemistry. It has been fantastic to be able to be here working towards the field geology of the Artemis program. I'm really looking forward to these samples which are going to be returned from this program, as these will be really key for us to understand Moon's surface as a whole and the Moon's geology as a whole. Our previous samples that we collected from Apollo, they're representative of the near side, but we don't know if they're representative of the whole Moon. Artemis is going to be so important for us to really understand the Moon in more detail. The first time we discovered there was water on the Moon was 2008. Alberto Sal and others, they studied tiny glass beads from the Apollo 17 and Apollo 15 missions. They were able to detect much more amounts of water than we had actually expected. Until that point, we expected the Moon was bone dry. The Moon's water was primarily introduced during the giant impact that formed the Moon, which is when a Mars-sized body impacted the very early Earth, broke off material of both the Earth and this Mars-sized body, which went into orbit around the Earth, eventually coalescing to form the Moon. For lunar exploration, we need water to sustain our lives, but also to be fashioned into some sort of rocket fuel, so then we could use the Moon as the stepping stone for humans to get to the Martian surface. Artemis is a really important program. Can't wait to see the samples and see what we can find out.